Russian show.
Yep.
Kira's been reading quite a bit lately, and he's going to give us his thoughts, and I'll give you my thoughts, and you know how this goes. Hit it.
Right. Lately I've been reading the Ultimates, which is the Avengers, basically. Yep. I've read the Ultimate... Is it Ultimate Universe Volume...
You've read all of Volume 1, and you've started on Volume 2.
Yes. Right, Ultimate Universe Volume 1, sorry, I've read that, and I can't remember what the fucking storyline was. What a knobhead.
Alien Invasion.
Yes, the Alien Invasion. I'm gonna go on my random, my usual, like, rant. Well, not, I say rant, I'm gonna go on, just by starting off by saying, it was fucking brilliant, right? Graphically. Not a flaw on it. I mean, I know I said that I like I like Iron Man Extremis because, you know, graphically it's like brilliant, but this one, it's like Extremis looks not hand drawn, computer drawn, right? The Ultimate Universe Volume 1, you know it's hand drawn and it looks fucking fantastic, right? And then the storyline is really, really good. Because you've got Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury in the comic book, and you've got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in the comic book, and
they're all likenesses. They're not actually talking to you.
They are.
Yeah, the likenesses match so much. It just makes it. Yeah, you're looking at Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And you got to remember this is before the films.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and it comes about, and although it's a collection of every single Avenger, your three main characters within it are actually Nick Fury, Iron Man, Tony Stark, and I thought as well Thor.
Yeah. Thor got a lot more detail, especially in the second volume, because he was one of the ones that was coming in and out. You find little bits about him, but the second volume of it really started picking up on it, and we'll get to the second volume in a minute.
Oh yeah, so we will. So yeah, like I say, the first volume really, really good. Not a flaw on it, not a bad comment.
What do you think of the basically resolution to remember the Ultimates Volume 1? Just so you know what you get in order. Volume 1 is Ultimates 1, just the Ultimates, and there's 2 books, and then you have Ultimates Volume 2, which is another 2 books.
Yeah.
And the end of the first Ultimates book, the Wasp is left in a critical state.
Yeah.
What do you think is the resolution of
that? Sorry. That's where
Cap tracks down Ant-Man.
Yeah. Unexpected, but expected.
Yeah.
Because
you knew something was going to happen to it, you just didn't know what.
Yeah, it was unexpected in that essence, but it was also unexpected because Captain America is... Yeah, he's from the 1940s. He's been frozen in time. Wait a minute, I'm not touching you up.
He just went for my groin, call the police.
I'm now going for his arse.
Ah! I'm being violated on air.
Not really. Yeah, so, like I say... It's unexpected. Fuck off, you dirty bastard. It's unexpected because, you know, it's living in modern age.
Yeah.
But it's expected because it's from the 1940s and women weren't treated like that, and, you know, men had to do the man's role.
Men were men, and, you know, you protect women, you don't hurt them. Because the thing, what happened in the first book was, Wasp was got into a fight with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Marital spat, should we say. And he fucked her up.
Yeah.
Basically.
Not in the good way.
And Cap tracks him down, and it's just awesome. He beats the living shit out of him.
But that's something I've noticed in Volume 2. I'll go on a bit more about it later as well. Cap America, he sort of turns into a right fuggish little bastard.
Yeah. But
there is reasoning behind it, though.
Because the Captain America of normal universe, clean cut. Oh, I'm Captain America. Yeah. This Captain America I like because he's a real person, you know. He's normal.
Yeah.
He's not a fucking be all and end all. He's just someone who can inspire people. But at the end of the day, he's got his dark side, just like every other character in the Ultimates universe. They've got that dark edge to them.
Yeah. But also within the first volume as well, there's a lot. Well, I say a lot of humour. A lot of humour. There is. Excuse me. Little snippets of humour. And no, there's one line.
Yeah, the one line.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'll set the scene. Captain America and a group of basically army comrades.
They're called the Chitara, which you might recognise from. You won't recognise them, but they're the enemy they fight in the film. It's an alien race.
Yep. And there's just like a one-page spread with Captain America. He's just kicked this guy's ass, and this guy's like basically slagging
Switching
him
around, he's had his ass kicked. The dude's beating him up.
Oh yeah, sorry. And Captain America, sorry, the dude says something like, you know, just because you go around wearing like a Ponzi fucking flag on your chest and whatever, you know, something along the lines of what does it stand for and whatever. And he rambles on a bit about the American flag and how it's, you know, stars and stripes and it's all amazing and everything. And Captain America says the humorous line
or set the scene even further. The dude says, why don't you just surrender? After his big rant about America and everything, he goes, you can just surrender, you can give up. And Captain America screams with amazing force, do you think this A on my head stands for France?
Yes.
And that made me fucking piss myself. Halfway through an epic battle, it just broke up so nicely.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful... and Nick Fury as well. He provides a lot of the humour in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's volume 1, more or less. It ends off in a way. Captain America's got with Wasp, yes. Which sort of kickstart. So, oh, hang on, I'm missing out a fucking big chunk here. Bruce Banner, Hulk, goes on a fucking rampage. Well, I say goes on a rampage in Manhattan. He turns into Hulk to aid the Avengers and basically destroys Lower Manhattan. Which leads into the second volume, which I'll speak about thusly. The second volume, Bruce Banner, aka Hulk, has been captured and confined in solitary confinement, basically. And
he's finally been put on trial.
Yep.
For the many people he killed when he went on his rampage.
863. Okay. That's how much of a fucking nerd I am. Yeah. 863 people, right? I told you I'd read it again.
Yeah.
I've done. Yeah, so he kills 863 people. He goes on trial for it, and this bit really like fucks me off. It was like annoying. While he's in solitary confinement, after the trial and whatnot, he gets his verdict through. And Nick Fury comes in, he's like, congratulations man, you know, you've been let off and all of this. And, you know, they have a drink, and the drink that Bruce drinks has been spiked. And he basically gets left on a
oil platform.
Something along the lines of that. And Tony Stark essentially like blows it up. But there is a like story behind this story. The story behind the story is there's apparently a mole, shall we say, within the Avengers.
Yeah.
And files get leaked about the attack that is there.
And they all think it's Thor.
Yeah.
Files get leaked about Bruce Banner claiming he was a Hulk, which caused his trial.
Yeah.
So, and then suddenly,
yeah,
there's a mole. Who is it?
Yeah, there's a mole within it, and it turns out to be Thor's
younger brother, Loki.
Yeah, Loki. But even though Loki was introduced, right, I'm reading it and I'm thinking towards the end of the first volume of the first book of the second volume, sorry, I'm thinking, yeah, hang on, Captain America's turned into a cunt, and which he did, under influence from Loki, because you get a cracking just at the end of the first book of the second volume cracking little bit where who is it? It might be Giant Man. Yeah, it's Giant Man. He's talking to.
Yeah,
someone.
He's talking to Wasp, and he starts getting really protective and really weird.
No, not that bit. Where they're in like the flat, and the guy's making the tea. Is right at the end.
Yeah.
He's right at the end, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, that's got to be. Excuse me, that's got to be Captain America. But as you discover, it's actually not. It's not Captain America. If you read on, you discover that it is Loki, but Loki's also acting on behalf of someone else. I've only just got up to this bit now. But it turns out Loki, for me, he is a fucking deranged nut job. Basically, he's not the Norse god.
Well, like I said, it does get resolved, and in an amazing fashion at the end of the second volume, the whole thing about Thor, and it is satisfying.
Right.
Now, the one thing is what happens at the end of the volume 2, the first book.
No spoilers.
No, the first book.
Yeah.
Where they're taking Thor's belt off him.
Yeah.
That was fucking
brilliant.
awesome. Because basically, Thor believes himself to be the Norse god. Now, there's two waves of Thor. It is either Loki is distorting reality to make him weak and make others believe he's not Thor, or he is deranged and he's just a mutant with a power suit on.
Yeah.
And they actually take the power suit off him and he loses his powers and they confine him.
Yeah.
And it's fucking... it's a great little fight scene.
It is a good scene.
The one thing I love about it as well, especially about the second volume, is after this, the Ultimates, the first 2 books, it's on such a high, and then it just starts slowly crashing.
Yeah.
All the characters, everything, some of it's fucking up with each one.
Yeah. Like you say, Giant Man was because he did in Wasp. Giant Man was like, you know,
he was thrown off the Avengers.
Yeah.
Wasn't allowed to be on the team.
Yeah. And then you've got, and he goes and joins
that. You don't really need to read that. That's like a side note. He goes and joins another team and it ends badly, basically.
Yeah. Iron Man is with
a Scout Witch, not
yeah.
Scout Witch.
No,
I keep thinking Scout Johansson. Black Widow. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is Cap America's with Wasp.
Thor's fucked out of his head.
Yeah. Nick Fury's under like massive pressure and shit.
Yeah. The Nick Fury in it is, you want to sympathise with him.
Yeah.
But you're like, shit, did you have to do that? Because he makes some horrible choices in it. Like with the Hulk and everything, but he has to do it at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the more interesting characters in it.
Yeah.
But overall, one little thing about the Ultimates as well, because we don't want to spoil all of it, and we're going to do this again once you've finished the second volume, because the last book that you've got, that's going to be a full episode.
Right.
Because it is fucking beautiful. And we'll talk about the Avengers, the Ultimates as a whole. Mm-hmm. But what do you think of the new characters? Like I told you in the Ultimates, the first 2 books, when they introduced Quicksilver, I thought he was an amazing depiction of a speedster. Yeah. Just the fact that you didn't see him in that book at all.
Yeah, it was. And then you got Magneto's daughter as well.
Yeah, they're both Magneto's children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scarlet Witch, who is... There's something, I don't even know this, but there's something going... they're planning something with her.
Yeah.
You can tell it, you know, she's so meek and mild and not really that powerful, you don't really see it, but they're planning. There's going to be something big with her. The one thing I love about Quicksilver as well is because I've read X-Men Vol 1, we said when we'll see Stephen to get X-Men Vol 1. Yeah. Because Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch started with the Brotherhood, Magneto, basically Magneto's evil army. Yeah. And they defected to the Ultimates. Right. And Quicksilver is in awe of his father and his father hates him. And he's always trying to get his respect. And in the Thor fight, I thought it was amazing that Wanda just had to mention that someone hurt her and you're Magneto's son. Yeah. And he did it, he beat Thor. Yeah. Because Quicksilver beat Thor, as crazy as it seems. But I really like the depiction of Quicksilver. Yeah. It's possibly one of my favourite new characters in it. Yeah. How about you? Any of the other characters that catch your eye?
Night. Is it Nighthawk? Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
What the fuck am I on about? Nighthawk.
X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hawkeye. Because I've only noticed in the second volume, he seems like such a down-to-earth bloke, a normal guy. He seems pretty weedy. He looks pretty weedy.
He's the ordinary guy because he's not really a superhero. He hasn't got any powers. He's just a really fucking good sharpshooter.
Yeah.
And it's that aspect. He is the most normal of all the characters. He's just a normal guy. He's got a family. He's got everything.
Yeah.
And obviously, at the start of the second volume, you see what happens.
Yeah.
And
don't know if we should say that. That'd be a big spoiler.
Yeah, there's a huge spoiler with Hawkeye, which literally made me stop reading.
Yeah.
For like 20 minutes, because Hawkeye.
It's a big fucking shocker.
Yeah, it's what happens to him is horrible, and it's like because he's so normal. He's such a normal character. It hits you more.
Yeah. It's the moment to mull that over.
Just remembering those scenes, man, that fucking shocked me to be cool. Well, yeah. Well, they added all the new characters in, and each character is good and fun. There's not a character in the book I don't like, which is very rare.
Yeah.
And every character's fun, they have their moments, and they're all really well rounded. Ultimates is a definite read. Now, you read Dark Phoenix, obviously, which you absolutely loved.
Yes. Did we not do something about that?
We did Dark Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We did Dark Phoenix. I think the Ultimates is the main one you've been reading now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, plan for the future is I'm going to give you an X-Men run once you finish those two ones.
Yep.
I'll give you Joss Whedon's run. I've said it's not the best, but it'll introduce you to the kind of the modern version of the X-Men, because from that it spawned into what it is now. It just you'll have a better grip on time and everything. Plus it introduces you to, because with the old ones you've been introduced to Cyclops, Jean, you know, all that.
And everyone, yeah.
All that. This gives you the dynamic of how it is now, where it's Jean's dead. Jean's not in it.
Yeah.
It's Cyclops and Emma Frost, which is, as I said, much more interesting. And like I said, it'll give you the chance to actually read something like you're doing with the Ultimates, you're reading all the way through.
Yeah.
This is to see an arc to its end. You're going to see when a writer comes onto a comic and what happens when a writer finishes a comic.
Right.
Because usually you'll have a run of about a year. You might get guys who do 2, 3. There's a guy, Brian Michael Bendis, on Ultimate Spider-Man, has done 10 years. He hasn't stopped. But you get different writers, and that's the one thing, when you start getting really into comics, you can start looking at, oh, I like that writer.
Yeah.
I'll go for what else to do, like I've been doing with Neil Gaiman, and I've did with Grant Morrison and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But definitely, I always say go off characters first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a full run on the X-Men, and I'm debating whether or not to get new X-Men, but as soon as I get new X-Men, that's the one to read.
Alright.
But yeah, me, like I said, that I've already mentioned this, Death, High Cost of Living.
Yeah.
I still highly recommend you get that one. It's in the library. Fuck me, it's just, I reread it, you know, for the 6-day challenge.
Yeah.
It's just so fun. It's a nice little story. It's nothing apocalyptic or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a really nicely told story, and it's in the Sandman universe, but you don't need any history with the Sandman to understand it. I'm just trying to think of some other ones now. I know you like your Iron Man.
Yes.
There is a story, I haven't got it. Look it up, try and get it somewhere.
Will do.
Demon in a Bottle. That is the Dark Phoenix of Iron Man. That's a seminal book.
Right.
It deals with his alcoholism. And you know in Iron Man 2,
yeah,
where he's there getting pissed in the Iron Man suit, that's where it's from.
Right.
The cover is him, with overcoat on, with his Iron Man suit under it, and a fucking bottle of whiskey in his hand. It's fucking great. And there's like daft ones where, I remember one panel, his fucking neck, he's fucking throwing back shots, and then he hears a distress signal, and he flies out, but he doesn't open the window. He just turns back and goes, "You really should have opened that." Then flies off, pissed out of his head. And there's a great scene where the Avengers, in obviously normal Marvel continuity, they're trying to kick him out of the Avengers, but they can't because he funds everything.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. It's the seminal Iron Man tale.
Right.
And as we've said before, don't touch Thor.
No.
Thor's crap. Captain America I wouldn't bother with. Hulk, nah. We'll just we'll basically get into whatever you want, and I can help you with whatever. But we'll start you in the X-Men now. I want to try and get you caught up, try and get you up to date with all the X-Men, because I've got from Whedon's run, all the way up to Schism, and that was, I think it was last year, Schism, and it just, the arc of that is beautiful, and it's different writers, different stories, and there's one that you'll love. It's called Necrotia.
Yeah.
And the art style. Do you remember the X-Force book, Sex and Violence? The art style's like that.
Right.
Fucking beautiful.
The name Joss Whedon rings a bell.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Yes.
directed the Avengers.
Buffy, yeah. Okay.
Now the reason I hate Joss Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men won't affect you.
Right.
Because I watched Buffy. I watched the last series. I used to watch Angel.
Yeah.
And it was for the last series of Buffy, and I think it was like the 3rd or 4th series of Angel. They started airing at the same time, so I'd watch it with my sister.
Right.
And I watched the last series, and the ending of Buffy is the exact same ending he used in X-Men.
Bloody hell.
Just tears it off. Like, you can't fault Joss Whedon. You can't go, oh, that's wrong, because it's Joss Whedon. All the fanboys yell at you, but it's fucking true. You don't rip off an ending. You can't assume just because I don't read X-Men, I don't watch Buffy.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. So.
Yeah.
But then again, you'll enjoy it because hopefully you haven't seen the end of Buffy.
Cannot remember precisely.
Series 7 it takes place in. The very last episode, he basically rips it off in the X-Men. But it doesn't matter, it's still an enjoyable tale. And he does some good stuff in it, but it's a really good launching point.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we're done with that one. We had a nice little quick comic book session.
Yep.
Alright, it's goodbye from me.
And frack off from me.